Welcome to Mixu Legendary Lords 1. Ddraig here again, and I'm going to take you through the Empire and the Legendary Lords that the Mixu has created. In this video, I'll be looking at Averland, Hocland, Marienburg and Nordland, and summing up with a few of my thoughts about where we start and possibilities on the campaign map. As we go through the Lords, you will notice some bonus units, because I wanted to add the Mixu's excellent Campaign Supplement, which adds a unit of renown into a starting army, and also allows you to recruit them during the campaign. Hopefully a future video. So let's get started. Starting off in the south of the Empire were the wide open plains of Averland, with the dubious distinction of having to defend the Blackfire Pass, which leads across the World Edge Mountains, and of course the Border Princes and the Greenskins. Living close to the World Edge Mountains, they are on good terms with dwarves who dwell over there and try very hard to stay on those good terms. To the west is Mesmerize. To the east is the Moot and of course the Vampire Lands. Not the safest place to dwell, with enemies at your door from the possible south depending on how well the Border Princes defend their side of the pass and the ever-present vampires. Which brings us to Marius Leitdorf here, or the Mad Count as he is sometimes known, for well being a little bit eccentric and has huge bouts of rage. Eccentric may be a bit of a soft word when it is said he has raged wars and forests, swarms of bees and fishermen. So yes, Mad Count fits in well. So let's have a closer look at Marius. Faction wise, he can make his home in the mountains and has some nice damage buffs to some of his favourite skirmish calves, making this Lord a good choice for bringing large cavalry presence to a possibly rival Abertonian army. Okay, maybe not that big. With his interesting ability to make the mountains his home provides possibilities to go and war with the dwarves. Stats wise, he's a very good fighter with a huge charge bonus and strong combat stats across the board. He is well known as one of the Empire's top fighters, and you can see his stats back that up. His personal Lord effects represent the madness, with a random buff happening as part of his mechanic, and has a substantial upkeep reduction for knights. His personal abilities now, with tactical brilliance, the only buff that affects others, adding a bit of attack and defense in a reasonably wide arc, and is a constant, so a handy frontline buff. His two fighting abilities, Insane Bravado, which makes him very tough and unbreakable, and Fight to Death, which adds more damage when his health is young. Both of these buffs bring excellent heal and Lord sniping possibilities. Add his Woundfang weapon, giving magical damage, this makes Marius a very strong Lord, making him one of the best combat Lords for the Empire, next to Karl himself. His starting army is reasonably strong with a good strong mix of base me infantry and a couple of ranged units, Empire Knights, and some grenade launching outriders. Okay, let's jump into the campaign and see what about that starting location and look at his skill tree. So let's have a look at Averland's starting location. So here we have Marius, of Averland of course, and it's an interesting starting location with things I can see just off the bat. Starts off, you do have a starting trade with Zufbar here, if I go to my trade screen. And there you are, I have a trade with them. So that's not a bad start. A trade's always good at the start. Even a small one. You can build on that. Of course you've got two easy province. Which is not bad, not great, it's not bad. You can take that, it's not too bad. To the west we've got Vampdator, which covers your right flank, left flank even, quite handy. You won't have any problems there. You've got the dwarfs to the south here, so you've got one of the dwarf factions, I think it's this one actually. Which one is it? Kreun in there, and we have a dwarf faction there, Carolingia. Of course you've got Skarsnik up here, but maybe pushing. It varies from campaign to campaign, and then down here you've got the other dwarf factions and the wood elves, and you really ever see anybody coming up this way. So on the whole, the left side, pretty secure. Of course you've got the Moot above you, with Stirland, so that's not too bad. They're reasonably safe. Of course now we get to the trouble part. You've got the vampires, and vampires are usually quite aggressive. You could probably maybe make peace with them, but on the whole, yeah, you got Vrad here, and all manners of vampiric type stuff to the east of you, so that is a big problem and that is a risk. You could try to get him out of the way at the start, but not sure about that. It's a tough one. Because at the start, vampires are quite tough to deal with. So that is a possible problem. Especially because Stirwin's got even worse, and we'll come to them later. Or at some point anyway. To the south, we've got the Border Princes, and we've got a Rogue Greenskin army here, which will be reasonably easy to take out. So, I've known Border Princes to go quite early on before now. And the surrounding factions here. Even with the main dwarf faction here, the greenskins do have a tendency to flood north, and they're very aggressive because greenskins. So that, and basically you are the entry to the empire here. So it's up to you to defend it, which makes this for whoever this is a key area to hold. So that has got to be a where was it called? So got to be a guardhouse. It's got to be a city watch. It's got to be 3 garrisons in this place for possible strikes from the south. Other than that, the army itself is reasonable. 13 strong, which is pretty reasonable. Got some good sword units. Got great swords. Got Marius himself, who's a reasonably good Lord. And we can have a look at his skill tree in a minute. We have swordsman, so we've got a good anti-arch basis. A couple of melee swordsmen. We also got anti-arch from this regiment unit of renown. And I'll go through the unit of renown in possibly another video. But here's a quick look at this one. So you start off with this unit. Good missile damage, good bonus for the Arge, a solid unit if ever was one, and he got a snare with him as well, so that is a very good starting unit. Very handy. Another unit of crossbow, Empire, and the awesome outriders of the grenade launchers, which can really chew up and chaff, especially good against the vampire count, so that is a very handy unit and you want to keep hold of that one. So the skill tree is quite an interesting one, not bad. So you got possible to get a Griffin, rank 16, always good. Moonfang, always a handy thing. I got a personalised horse called Daisy. Not exactly the most violent Cold War horse I've ever heard of my entire life. But yeah, whatever. Monkey's happy. So, usual things up top. And we've got Fight to Death. Passive ability. Some excellent boosts for the cavalry. Always good. They do start off with a unit. So and you got quite a lot of bonuses to cavalry for all of these. And right at the end, we got the neighbourhood freedom attacks from fighting against Wood Elves and Bretonnia, which is an interesting one, really. I presume in Yore that he may have fought the Wood Elves in Bretonnia at some point because he doesn't exactly start close to them. Well, Wood Elves are not exactly far away, admittedly, so maybe could be useful. Then you get your standard skill tree, your attacking skill tree. I don't think there's anything of note really there. Let's have a quick glance. No, it looks very vanilla. Down the bottom here, we have the boosting to your particular army. Which is looking. Yeah, you've got a few buffs for your great swords and demigryph knights, mighty forge. Nothing massively leaping out at me, I have to admit. Oop. Some nice bonuses for the others. I think that's pretty much all your standard stuff, to be honest. And judging by the arch tree, that is the standard stuff as well. So, yeah, you've got some nice buffs to the cavalry there. So that is obviously in a focus, and a griffin is always good. But yeah, a small but interesting skill tree. Hocland is in the north of the Empire by the Middle Mountains, making it towards the central part of the Empire. To the east is the more wealthy Ostend, and to the west, Middenheim, and the south is Taborkund, so you find friendly faces around you at the start. It is a heavy wooded region with a river to the south between you and Taborkund. Faction-wise, they specialise in forest battles due to the nature of their surroundings, and have a great buffs to handgunners, increasing their range considerably. One of the smallest provinces in the Empire, but there are proud people living there, with a keen interest in hunting, which leads us to the account. Aldbrand Udenhof, a tall man, and is a match for most in combat, and is an enthusiastic hunter with a passion for birds. Which brings us own special ability, which I will come to later. So let's see what Aldbrand brings to the battlefield. Good solid combat stats, not much on the AP front at 140, and a spell bonus to the Arge at 8. A solid yard, and a huge reduction of handgunners, making a good strong missile heavy army for Aldman and Must, giving a 50% reduction. With his Hunter's Gaze buff, making spotting those enemy units even in dense forests much easier. A nice buff for close units is called Hold the Iron. And being a huge bird fan, you can actually summon a Great Eagle to help in the fight. A powerful unit to save the East, and a granting anti-skirmish unit, as being one of the quickest units in the game. The Runefang of Hocland has a really powerful killing and brawl ability, and magic and damage, making him pretty dangerous in close combat against the right units. But chaff units could eat this ability up, so be careful. With his starting army, he brings a few missile units to the table, with a unit of Renown, Ergag Gunners, Outrider units, some more handgunners, not to mention some more crossbowmen, giving you a strong missile presence from the off. So let's jump over to the campaign and get a closer look at the start for Hocland. Okay, let's have a look at Hocland army. And here we are, start the campaign, and let's see how the starting position looks like. So, to the west and east, pretty much everywhere, we have Empire. We have strong Empire factions like Middleton to the west, and to the east we've got Austland, got Talbricken to the southeast and south. So we're pretty much yocked in this area, unless you start attacking the Empire, which of course is a possibility. You could do that. You might annoy the rest of the Empire, but yeah, it's still a possibility. On the downside is very little chance of growth if you don't want to do that, which is a bit of a problem really, because Aldebrand here has a reasonable starting army, but nothing really to do. The Beastmen do lurk in these realms here, the Midian realms, so possibly a bit of a fight there, but other than that there's not much room to grow, apart from conquering the other empires. So yeah, it's a very safe starting place, and you got lots of trade possibilities. No port unfortunately, but you do have trade possibilities with all your neighbours, and within a couple of while I'm sure that would be quite easy too. So let's have a quick look at his army. So quite a few swordsmen, Vampdator and some great swords. A nice regiment unit of renown, which is the mod I've got activated, which is one of Mixu's add-ins. And a very strong unit at the start. Does you got that range? 420 snipers. Obviously going to no-scope a few people. And very good damage as well. Very, very good damage. They're pretty much 8 artillery units really. But yeah, against the Lords or armies who've got very units, you're thinking chaos really, aren't you, at this point? Could be very handy. No, I don't think there's no anti-arge, but they do have good penetration. Actually, we've got perfect penetration, so anything they're going to hit, they're going to hurt. So get those Lords to be sniped out. So yeah, that's a good unit. You also got the handgunners, another good unit. So you got a nice bit of firing battery, and I got a couple units of crossbowmen, and some outriders, which are a very useful unit. I do like the outriders. Perfect for those little hit and runs, and they on the charge, not terrible, not great, but they can do a little bit of damage. Especially, and if they're routing at the time, perfect unit to go after them. So on the whole, it's not a terrible starting price at all. It's just a bit average, to say the least. It won't be a difficult campaign depending how you play it, but yeah, not much to say about this one. I think you can make what you want with it. You can go against the Empire, or just hold out and wait for something to happen to the west or the east. You're thinking Norska, possibly. That's probably the biggest threat to this one. So there's Aldebrand's skill tree. Got an interesting one here. You can get a Griffin as well. You've got the Rune Fang. All the usual stuff, but this is interesting. Hunter's Gaze. He's a known hunter, so that's quite a good buff. He's got some halberdier buffs, which are very nice indeed, and some income to trade. Very good. Hocland Young Rifle, and just read that attribute. Store for handgunner units. That is powerful. That is really powerful. At level 6, you can have that. That's really powerful. And plus 20% handgunners units. And what you can say to that, but that's going to be useful. And you also got minus 50% upkeep for handgunners. So, yeah. You want to go all Mesmerize units with this army. And if that's not enough, all infantry units can get a vanguard. So if you fancy yourself for a bit of a sort of a wood elf type of play, where you vanguard your troops into the forest, picking off units, this is the one to play. So we got some more updates here. Bit of melee defense. And of course, you got his special ability, the Raptor Yord Eagle, so you can summon a Great Eagle, which is a very handy pet to have. And that seems to be ours for the entire battle. It doesn't say it decays. I think it just... yeah, it doesn't look like it. Very rare to get a summoning unit for a casting for the Empire. Very rare indeed. All the rest of the tree is pretty much the standard affair, really, as far as I can see. Yep, pretty much the standard affair. So that top line brings some interesting options to your army. Gives you a bit more vanguard possibilities, and I always did get vanguard. Quite like playing beastmen for that very reason. So vanguard, very handy. Home on one of the largest ports in the old world, Marienburg is a trading mecca and brings the possibilities of Great Wolf and opportunity to all. Home to dwarves, elves and humans alike, this vast port situated in the northwest of Reichen, with Bretonia very close as well as the Northern enemy all around them. Faction wise, there are strong reductions to the regiments of renown and nice big bonuses from trade. You can also build fleets much like the Vampire Coast mechanic. This mechanic is something that Mixu is hoping to expand upon in the future. In this mod, you play with Eduard von Ddraig, and Red Fleet Commander of the Man's Blades. A pirate, mercenary, smuggler, thief, with something disreputable in the life to do, Eduard has done it. Numerous raids to Norska and saving a series of pirating and plundering. Getting a closer look at Eduard, you can see he's a hybrid lord with a strong missile attack with a good AP of 117, making it pretty handy to have around, but only at 90 range, so bear that in mind. Not as strong as in melee, only 140 AP damage. He's still reasonable in that sense, but not so attackier, but he can definitely hold his own in a fight. Skills wise, he has a lot of options. Dirty Fighting increases the range and normal combat damage, and also gives the person attacking a nice debuff for 10 seconds. Man's Yug boosts his own toughness in case of emergencies. A magic missile in the shape of Pyromaniac. A regen bonus as well. And actually, if that's enough, he has a Cursed Skull, dropping melee attack and leadership in a nice arc. Lots of excellent buffs there, and also a really good unit buff, increasing leadership and damage around himself in 40 meters, making him very handy next to range or your front line. A smaller starting army than most, but benefits from a cannon and some Saratoga pirates, and of course the Man's Blades, an excellent combat unit. So let's see how Marienburg looks like on the start of the campaign. Well, here we are with Marienburg, and as you see right at the top of the screen, first thing to talk about is the amount of cash they have. They have a ludicrous amount of cash, and that's mainly because Marienburg is a stage 3 stage 3 of growth, and Gausser is at stage 2. And I've already got a port which has got 500 coming in, which can be upgraded to actually let's go to this tree, be easy to see. And you got that can go up to 1,000 and go up to 2,000. Money is not a problem for Midland, as you can see. And with Gausser, you got some trade possibilities there, and you got a unit already started. The retreating field already started to build, so not a bad little starting place when it comes to the city. And you've got already a 3rd tier ivory for your cavalry, so I can already employ. Well, I can't yet because I need to get the base unit for the blacksmith, but I have a possibility, and that'll probably be one of the first things I build. I might even destroy one of these just to get that going, to be honest. So provinces wise, you're sorted. Also, education wise, you're not too bad. Of course, you've got some greenskins, I need the dwarves in, to deal with. You've got the Blackstone post here, which possibly won't be too much of a problem, but they are quite aggressive, and they could go for a ghost. I can never say that word. You know what I mean? I'm pointing at it, that one. And they have a tendency to raise that and take it for themselves. So that could even come into here. Other than that, you got pretty much the entire Bretonnian faction to the rest. And they're very rare in any trouble for the Empire. Very rare. You might occasionally get a bit of a mix up with Mr. Union Co. Oh, yo. You start off a war with them. Oh, isn't that interesting? I didn't know that. Oh, that's completely flipped it. That is a really tough army to deal with right at the start. That is a very strong army Union Co has got. A Kreun, very good province as well. Got massive settlement there. That is a problem, I would say. So you got Norska coming in, and you got these two places. You got the Greenskins to your right, left, possible undead to the southeast, and you got the Empire of Marienburg and Midonian to the east. I bet it won't be very much of a problem, I would have thought. Empire, possibly. There is a bit of a in Europe. There is a bit of a Marienburg and the Empire have not had the greatest relationship in the world. But what is interesting, and Mixu's going to develop this, he says in his notes for this mod, you can actually have a campaign and have this as like a horde faction. So you can grow it as you go along, and this might get updated in the future. But what we can see at the moment, he can update his cabin. Brazen Mahan, some nice abilities there. You can actually recruit some troops here, and you got the Saratoga Militia and Free Company. Very nice too. And he's got some possible cannons and mortars. What else does he bring? Excuse me. Campaign movement, very handy for a boat. Yeah, good as anything. For fleet, let's say that better. That's better. And you got army ability. Very strong. Any army ability is really strong. Can you actually see what it does? No, but I think we can guess. Things go boom. Now, lastly, got some pirate growth. And like I said, he's going to update this at some point. But he's got the basics there. He can just build on that as he sees fit. So his actual army, let's park him into here. Oh, Eduard here. He's got a very small starting army. Only 10 units. Got a cannon. And any artillery at the start of a campaign is a bonus because they're so strong at the start. Couple of Saratoga Militia. Not too bad. Swordsman. Got a Saratoga Free Company as well. Couple of units for halberds, and you got these, the Milan's Blades, which are very good at a unit, a very elite unit. A unit of renown, you could almost say. And some great swords as well. So, what you have got is some strong units here. And Eduard himself is a legendary pirate, and he's very tough. And he's very strong. And he has a ranged attack. So, and a very interesting starting point, I would say, for Marienburg. Get peace with Bretonnia, or do you take him on? Up to you, it is. Really is. Eduard's Van der Krau's skill tree, which is quite in depth. So along the top, only one we've got the cursed skull, and you got the reliable. Nice bit diplomatic relations with Southern Realms and Norscan tribes, so that's interesting. You can try to make peace with Norskans, being that you are a pirate, kind of makes sense. So you got dirty fighting, and very handy with skill. Anything to reduce defense and melee attack is always good. On -3% accuracy for 48 seconds. That's got to be a 90-second cooldown on that. That's a hell of an ability, that is. More guns. So cheap use of artillery. You can never say no to that. Let's be fair. He also has a passive ability, Drunken. Drunken shipmates. Just boosting up the pirates. Boosting up your campaign movement. Boosting up your income from trade and ports. Of course, starting off with a port, it's always good. Hard to kill as well, so that's his regen ability. And moving on, we got Money Jacket, Ward Save, Melee Attack, Assassinate, Opportunist, Cutlass, and Hornswoggle, which is a Hex. And replaces Taunt, very nice. He only has one option for mount, by the way, Barbed Warhorse, not like some of the others. Always ready, so you got some extra ammo. Real time, good sight. Ooh, nice ranged boost and some armor piercing. So missiles, very handy. And this can be very powerful, and he's also got a pyro damage to a combatant's powerful explosion magic missile. Down the bottom, you got the usual. Apart from Vastier, which is definitely new. Oh, that is a very nice buff. It would be a very interesting campaign to play Marienburg. I think I might play one myself actually. And all hands ahoy, even more buffs. Plus 16% to each and weapon damage. Yep, you can definitely see how this campaign can be a lot of fun, because this is a very interesting Legendary Lord to play with. Very interesting. A very interesting skill tree. And that would be about it for Eduard. To the northern coast now, where we find Nordland. As you can see, there's only the Sea of Crows between them and the Norse and Viking tribes, who are frequent visitors to these islands. The Imperial Navy is also housed here, and there's a bustling port, even with Marienburg not far away to the west, through the wasteland. To the east is the northern part of Ostland and the Kislevians. South is Midland and the mountains to the north of Hocland. Faction-wise, they have a boast of militia due to the high numbers in Nordland and some real movement bonus. Here we also find Theodoric Gausser, a combat lord with some interesting abilities, giving further boosts to 3 company militia, making them a good linchpin of the Earl's army. With a nice charge resistance buff via Life of Battle, brings some toughness to any front line, along with the other buff Hold the Line. Also, a self buff brings some really nice melee defense and melee attack bonus, and alongside the weapon Wound Fang, which brings great armor sundering ability to anyone he attacks. His starting army brings some really strong units to the game, a Hellstorm rocket battery, and a nice core of swordsmen flanked by some spears, but the crown unit is a unit of renown, Way Watchers. I'm a huge fan of Wood Elves, and this unit I can have in one of an Empire army. Highly expensive, but there are no battle archers, so protect them at all costs. So let's see how the campaign looks. Definitely means a nod towards Norscan threat. Nordland. Here we are with them, and as you can see, the main focus of the campaign is to protect your beachhead against the Norscan raids. And with the Sea of Crows, the only thing in between you and Norska. You also got Norska to the east a bit more, and you got Norska to the west of you as well. That is your main focus. So, how are your settlements looking? So let's have a quick look at them. So you're only level 1, which is not a great start. Of course you have the port, but good trade routes. But other than that, from the start you're not very defensive. Southland has got a bit of a garrison, but Dieterskoffen hasn't got a defensive at all, so building up that quick would be handy. Other than the Norscan threat, to the west we have Marienburg and the Wasteland. To the east we have Ostland and Kislevians here. South of some Beastmen and Midland. Southeast is Hocland, and a bit further east is Ostland. Well, that's there as well, of course. So it's not too bad as a starting place. It's not great though. The Norscan threat is kind of real. You may get some issues with a Beastman here. Maybe, maybe not, we shall see. But other than that, your main issue is definitely going to be with Norscan threat. So let's have a quick look at Theodoric's army. Now I see it's a pretty good army. You got a Hellstorm, which is random but very good. Crossbowmen and some frequent militia. Frequent militia is a bit of a focus of his armies. You got a buffs for them, which we've seen in the skill tree in a bit. Got some Way Watchers, and everybody loves Way Watchers. I have my Wood Elf faction, and I use them to play with the Empire. Wow, just great. So as you can see there, stats are good, very expensive units, but it's Way Watchers, so what do you expect? Maybe some spearmen, some swordsmen, and of course the traditional great swords from Theodoric himself. So it's not a bad starting army. An army which you're going to definitely need at the start, either from the Beastmen or the Norscan raids. So with that said, let's go into the skill tree. So here we are, the skill tree of Theodoric Gausser. The standard things, you got some abilities, some unique items. You got the Wound Fang, of course, Sea Dragon. Nice bit of missile resistance on that. You get a personalised Griffin, which is always good. You got a few other abilities here, usual stuff, and of course the top line is the main changes. So let's have a quick look at that. Life of Battle, damage resistance and charge resistance for everybody around you. Very nice. Another Marines, some bonuses for your free company mission. Terror Norskins. So yeah, being that is going to be a focus of your campaigns. Extra army, extra buffs towards fighting Norscan. Very handy indeed. Enforced claims, sorry. A bit of a public order buffs and some campaign movement. Imperial Navy, bit of growth from bit more growth and some income ports. Very good. And Fearsome Warrior, which buffs up Theodoric himself. Very nice too. Other than that, tree is pretty much a standard affair. But got some interesting units there. And with that being said, I'm going to leave it there, and that's my last one of Mixu's mod. So it's been the 4. And in the next video, we're going to look at the rest of the campaign and the rest of the factions you get with this mod. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.